Spring weekend kicks off this afternoon. Our Anthony De Silva is live at the event center to bring you all the action. Former Bonnie's basketball star Jalen Attaway dismissed from the NBA G League. The latest on the league's decision.
You don't just go to playoffs just to lose. We want to go and win.
Women's lacrosse makes the postseason for the first time in 16 years. What this historic milestone means to the program.
Friday, we start dry, we end with rain in the afternoon.
A rainy weekend ahead. Aaron Menkowski brings you the weekend weather. SBU-TV starts right now.
Good morning, I'm Johnny Walker, and we begin today's show with a face fans of Bonnie's men's basketball might recognize. Jalen Attaway breaking last night. The NBA G League dismissed the former St. Bonaventure guard, citing a violation of the league's anti-drug program. Attaway, a first-year player in the NBA's G League, is eligible to apply for reinstatement in 1 year, according to a league statement. Attaway told SBU-TV there's a lot more to it and nothing has been made final. The program prevents the league from sharing additional information regarding testing or treatment of any G League player. We will continue to provide updates to this developing story.
Thank you, Johnny, and good morning, everyone. I'm Rich Williams. Spring weekend, a popular celebration here at St. Bonaventure, begins today. We now join Anthony De Silva, who is outside the Riley Center, where many of the spring weekend activities will take place. Good morning, Anthony.
Good morning, Rich and Johnny. Currently, I'm in between the Richter and Riley Center on this cloudy Friday morning. As of right now, it appears they are setting up the propane tanks and stoves to cook the food for spring weekend. But there isn't a whole lot of other things happening right now besides the baseball game going on at Fred Handler Field. But you may ask yourself, what is spring weekend? Spring weekend is a St. Bonaventure tradition here, and it consists of several activities, food, music, and the beloved kickball tournament. This week, I spoke with Jenna Keppel, who organized the events for spring weekend, and a student who is more than ecstatic for spring weekend and kickball.
Spring weekend begins this afternoon at 4 p.m. with various events planned throughout the day. I spoke with Jenna Keppel, who organized the events for the weekend.
This is my first spring weekend, so I definitely relied heavily on what has been done in the past.
Which may be why many of the activities are the same from last year. The activities that will be returning again this year are the mechanical bull, an inflatable obstacle course, caricature drawings, and a photo booth. All can be seen on Friday and Saturday. But there are some new activities this year. Life-size Hungry Hippo on Friday and Saturday, and the Rathskeller will hold several activities, karaoke on Friday night, and big budget bingo on Saturday night, in which $2,000 worth of prizes will be given out.
And then there's the kickball tournament. I spoke with Michael Seitz, who won the tournament last year.
The kickball has to be the best, obviously.
This year, there are 55 teams and over 800 students competing. But why do so many students play?
It has to do with the warm weather and just the competition, friendly competition. Everybody gets shirts, so you dress up with your friends.
And the tournament doesn't usually get overly competitive until later on.
It's not uber competitive, really. I mean, you can get into it later in the tournament, but everybody just plays to have fun, have a good time, be out in the sun.
But there's also a lot of rain in the forecast for this weekend. I asked Jenna what her plans are if it starts to rain.
And people have to be flexible. I mean, we can't control the weather, so we'll do as much as we can, move things that can be moved indoors.
According to Jenna, the plan is to still play kickball outside even if it's raining. From SBU-TV, I'm Anthony De Silva.
As for the live music, Adi Adu, a singer and songwriter from Buffalo, will be performing on the stage right here on Saturday, and WSBU The Buzz will be playing music the rest of the weekend. That's all I have from out here. Back to you, Rich and Johnny.
Thank you, Anthony. Now, make sure you get back inside soon because it looks like there's some wet weather on the horizon. To tell us exactly what might happen this afternoon, Chief Meteorologist Aaron Menkowski joins us now.
Hey everyone, I'm Chief Meteorologist Aaron Menkowski with your SBU-TV weather forecast. Friday, we start dry, we end with rain in the afternoon, temperatures in the mid-50s. Breezy with scattered showers on Saturday, mid-50s, and more wet weather, unfortunately, for your Sunday.
And St. Bonaventure's search for a new provost nearing its conclusion. The search committee selected its 3 finalists last week ahead of in-person interviews. Those will take place next week when the candidates visit campus. Open Q&A sessions will also take place on May 3rd, 4th, and 5th for campus community members to ask questions of each candidate. That will happen in the Dresser Auditorium here in the Murphy Building. Now, while the identities of each candidate are unknown, one member of the search committee said they are confident in all 3 candidates.
And this week, Pizza Hut returned to Olean under new ownership. The classic pizza chain on North Union Street had closed in 2020, along with several others in Western New York. On your screen is video from Tuesday at 11:30, right after it opened. You can see the parking lot is already packed. Several customers say the restaurant has had trouble keeping up with Olean's demand.
I'd say it took about a total of an hour for us to sit there. They had phone calls, they had online orders, and they had a lot of in-person orders. But then eventually they start calling a lot of people into work. You could just see them like start piling through the door like, oh my gosh.
Many of its Buffalo area counterparts because it offers full dine-in service.
Opioid overdose deaths in Cattaraugus County more than doubled in 2022, up to 27 from 13 just the year before. Rich Williams met with local medical experts who are combating this opioid crisis.
The national opioid crisis hitting home right here in Olean.
A significant uptick in opioid overdoses over the past probably year and a half or so.
Opioid overdose deaths in Cattaraugus County more than doubled in 2022 to 27 deaths compared to just 13 the year before. Almost 60% of those overdoses from people ages 18 to 34.
Tend to become a little bit immune to it, but it is kind of tough to see, especially because a lot of these people with the opioid overdose, they're younger.
Brian Swift is a EMS certified firefighter with the Olean Fire Department who responds to those emergencies. I'm at the Olean Fire Department right now where I spoke to first responders about the importance of using antidotes like Narcan to combat the rising opioid overdose numbers in our county.
And we do different things to kind of mitigate like opioid overdoses.
The Southern Tier Opioid Prevention Program, an initiative first started in 2015, is training the community on how to use Narcan in the event someone they're with overdoses.
People like show a training video, and that's kind of like an online in-person training. And then we also have trainers who go out and train in the communities.
This comes just a month after the Food and Drug Administration approved the nasal spray to be sold over the counter, with the end goal of solving this crisis.
Well, every life's important, so we want to get the education out there, try and combat it the best we can.
For SBU-TV, I'm Rich Williams.
The Southern Tier Opioid Prevention Program has trained over 3,000 people across Chautauqua, Cattaraugus, and Allegheny counties, and it continues its weekly efforts.
Former Cincinnati mayor and longtime TV host Jerry Springer died at the age of 79 Thursday. A family spokesperson says Springer died not long after being diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. Springer's tabloid talk show was famous for outrageous arguments and physical fights between guests. Springer was known as the grandfather of trash TV. The Jerry Springer Show came to an end in 2018 after 4,000 plus episodes and more than 25 years on air.
Coming up later in the show, Bonnie's Women's Lacrosse makes the A-10 tournament for the first time since 2007. Hear all the excitement from the team and coaches.
And a live look at downtown Olean this morning. Make sure you grab those umbrellas before you head out. Rain is expected this afternoon. The time is 10:09. We'll be right back after this.
Jordan knows he shouldn't eat this entire bowl of nachos, but tonight he's earned that right. Because a few hours ago in the middle of happy hour, he recognized a sign. Not from the gods or a bolt of lightning, but from a double heart, a kissy face, and a fourth ha in ha ha ha. That's when Jordan knew he was buzzed. So when it was time to go, he got a ride home instead of driving. Be a legend like Jordan. Recognize your buzzed warning signs and get a ride home. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
Baby, you see, I cannot set you free. My lonely days are gone. That's why I'm never gonna let you go. Never gonna let you go. Babe, I'm never gonna let you go. No, no, never gonna let you go.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Never gonna let you go. Never gonna let you.
When I got the opportunity to get her, there wasn't no choice. I told myself I'm gonna take custody of my daughter. It's my baby. That's what we're supposed to do as men. Take care of our home, build a foundation, you know what I'm saying? Love, our money, she's my purpose. I'm here to walk with her, hold her hand until she can walk alone. Ain't nothing like being a father in this world.
There are 16 million children struggling with hunger in America. That's 1 in 5 daughters, sons, neighbors, and classmates who don't know where their next meal is coming from. Yet billions of pounds of good food go to waste every year. It's time we do something about it. Feeding America is a nationwide network of food banks that helps provide meals to millions of kids and families in need. Visit feedingamerica.org to help them feed even more. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
Welcome back to SBU-TV, and thanks for sticking with us. The SBU dance team performed their annual spring production this week, this time Mamma Mia. The team performed their rendition of the famed jukebox musical about a young St. Bonaventure student trying to find her father before her wedding, with references to the university and other well-known places nearby, like the Burton. The event also said goodbye to senior performers like dance team captains Faith Gowrick and Jandoli School Woman of Promise Grace Foley. The event was performed in the Quick Arts Center on Tuesday and Wednesday nights.
And last Saturday, the Bonnie's women's lacrosse team made history, clinching a spot in the A10 playoffs for the first time since 2007. Gianluca Folsonetti sat down with first-year head coach and women's lacrosse alum Leanne Stauffer, as well as senior goalie Ashley Herrick, on how much this accomplishment means to them and the program.
Coach Stauffer, a Bonaventure graduate of 2017, knows the ups and downs that this program has been through. And the one big step she wanted to make arriving back at Bonaventure was to make the playoffs and progress off that.
And a whirlwind of emotions. I am extremely proud of our team. I'm extremely proud of my staff. And to, see this come to the light after this wasn't a conversation for me when I was here is just an indescribable feeling, I'll say.
Senior goalie Ashley Herrick has played for Bonaventure the past 4 years and has been here through this struggle. Finally making the playoffs, here is how she feels.
It's awesome. It shows that all our hard work is finally paying off, and it's awesome to get our first A10 win in so many years and then also be making the playoffs this year. It's really exciting.
And for the team's mindset going into the playoff games.
Is win and survive. You don't just go to playoffs just to lose. We want to go and win.
And this is how Ashley feels the team's accomplishments will help them in the future.
Sets a new standard for the next couple of years. We don't want to just make it this year. We want to keep making it and chase winning it.
Before the women's lacrosse team takes on the playoffs, they will be traveling to George Washington for the final regular season game of the year. For SBU-TV, I'm Gianluca Folsonetti.
The women's lacrosse team travels to Richmond next week to compete for the A10 championship.
It's likely the U.S. could default on its debt as soon as June. That's according to a trio of new analyses. The Treasury Department is counting on an infusion of funds from taxes. But so far this season, tax receipts are running much weaker than expected. Without that and other extraordinary measures, the government won't be able to pay its bills in full and on time until lawmakers raise or suspend the debt ceiling. If collections are enough to pay off some of the debt, it's likely the government won't default until much later in the summer. And that's because another round of tax payments are due on June 15th.
And a new study finds workplace discrimination can lead to long-term stress reactions and a risk of developing high blood pressure. Researchers found those who experienced high levels of workplace discrimination were 54% more likely to report high blood pressure. They also found that those who experienced intermediate levels of workplace discrimination were 22% more likely to, again, experience high blood pressure. This study was published Wednesday in the Journal of the American Heart Association.
A new face to the Olean Fire Department this week after Chief Tim Richardson's resignation.
After 3 years as head of the Olean Fire Department, Chief Timothy Richardson is retiring. Richardson became a member of the Olean Fire Department in 2002 and worked his way to be promoted to fire chief in February of 2020.
It's been a good experience on some aspects, great experience on others, and we did have a couple tragedies during the pandemic and actually during my tenure. We lost a code enforcement officer firefighter to COVID in the line of duty.
Despite the challenges, the department improved significantly.
We've updated basically all our department's operating guidelines, all of our department's policies and procedures that didn't need to exist back 20, 30 years ago, such as social media policies and mandates that come down from the state or federal government regarding health and safety that we may not have thought of in the past that needed to be implemented.
After 3 years of leadership under Chief Richardson, what's next for the Olean Fire Department? Meet Olean native Eric Morard, the current interim chief of the Olean Fire Department.
It's a great job. It is very rewarding. Plenty of things to do, plenty of extra projects to take on. If you like that type of stuff, to be out in the community and help people. So it's just a great job all around.
Morard wants to continue moving the fire department in a positive direction.
My goals are to make it a little bit more resilient with some safety factors added in, what we can provide.
As fire chief, the main task is to support the department consisting of 36 employees. Morard says other tasks include looking for funding and grants. April 29th is Richardson's last day in office, and Morard can't wait to start.
There's a lot to learn, but I'm eager to learn.
For SBU-TV, I'm Janice Washington.
Morard will remain acting chief until he is certified.
And Manhattan prosecutors have asked for a protective order in former President Donald Trump's criminal case. In a motion filed Tuesday, they're concerned he might publicize information about their investigation. Prosecutors also asked the judge to limit the disclosure of the prosecution team until after a jury is seated. They cited Trump's past statements about District Attorney Alvin Bragg and the judge in the case. Trump has pleaded not guilty to the charges of falsifying business records to conceal illegal conduct in relation to his 2016 presidential campaign.
And when we come back, a Special Olympics torch run in memory of a state trooper.
The time is now 10:17, and here's another look at downtown Olean along North Union Street. We'll be right back after this.
Jordan knows he shouldn't eat this entire bowl of nachos, but tonight he's earned that right because a few hours ago in the middle of happy hour, he recognized a sign. Not from the gods or a bolt of lightning, but from a double heart, a kissy face, and a fourth ha in ha ha ha. That's when Jordan knew he was buzzed. So when it was time to go, he got a ride home instead of driving. Be a legend like Jordan. Recognize your buzzed warning signs and get a ride home. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
Welcome back to SBU-TV as we continue our coverage of St. Bonaventure Spring Weekend. Later today, the university's Hickey Dining Hall will close, being replaced for the weekend with a more limited selection of classic warm weather foods located in a tent between the Richter and Riley Centers. I asked some students how they feel about spring weekend food. Students picking up blue wristbands that will grant them access to a menu highlighted by burgers, corn dogs, watermelon, and even snow cones.
I mean, I like it. I'm not too picky. Got walking tacos. Who doesn't love those? I mean, there's fried dough. I mean, there's something everybody would love.
But for the roughly half of Bonaventure's undergraduates who don't have an unlimited meal plan, that blue wristband will cost them $30.
I didn't really think I wanted a wristband just for some
half crispy chicken sandwiches and watermelon slices. So.
And beyond the price, some students lament the lack of options on the spring weekend menu, especially those with dietary restrictions. One student who's a vegetarian recalls her experience from last year.
It was all real meat and there was no like veggie burgers or anything like that. And so I'm pretty sure I just ate like mac and cheese and like watermelon, I think, like the entire day, because that was like really all there was, and like maybe a bag of chips.
However, Nicole Clark, general manager of dining services, says, quote, "Dining services will accommodate dietary restrictions the same as we do in the Hickey, and those with specific needs will not be impacted because of location." Nevertheless, Anna remains skeptical.
I'm curious if that would just be like you have to ask for it, or if they would have it ready, because like kind of feel like they wouldn't have it ready. I feel like you'd have to ask for it.
But for every skeptic, there's someone who just can't wait to get their hands on that fried dough.
I think it encourages students to actually be more in a community, and I think it's a great idea.
For students still looking to pick up a blue wristband, they'll be available for purchase in the Hickey until the dining hall closes at 2 p.m. later today.
And Bonaventure students, as you get ready for some spring weekend fun, you might want to check the weather forecast. Aaron Menkowski joins us again with some potential rain on the horizon.
Hey everyone, I'm Chief Meteorologist Aaron Menkowski with your SBU-TV weather forecast. Friday, we start dry, we end with rain in the afternoon, temperatures in the mid-50s. Breezy with scattered showers on Saturday, mid-50s, and more wet weather, unfortunately, for your Sunday.
The U.S. government heightening efforts to evacuate American citizens still in Sudan. 2 Americans have died since fighting broke out in the African nation roughly 2 weeks ago as a paramilitary force seeks to seize control of Sudan's government. The conflict has caused what's been described as a humanitarian crisis in Sudan, leaving buildings destroyed, access to clean drinking water scarce, and the nation's healthcare system on the verge of collapse.
And Thursday morning was the Trooper Ross M. Riley Memorial Torch Run leg of the New York Special Olympics. Our Patrick Vogel sat down with Dr. Paula Skraba to learn more about the event.
On Thursday morning, St. Bonaventure became the ending spot for the first leg of the New York State Special Olympics Torch Run.
Special Olympics has a traditional torch run. Local, regional, state, national, international.
The torch run is named after New York State Trooper Ross M. Riley, a state trooper that tragically lost his life during a training exercise.
So Trooper Riley, back in 2013, I believe, tragically lost his life in a exercise at Letchworth State Park.
The ability for students to participate in the run are due to projects the school does.
So our project is recycling bottles and cans.
Why is St. Bonaventure the ending spot of the first leg?
Since 2007, we've had a partnership with Special Olympics New York.
Erica Rapel, the Senior Director of Development of Special Olympics New York, says the experience on Thursday was nothing but incredible.
So seeing all of the support that was there today is absolutely incredible. And having Heidi and Jill Riley there, Ross's daughter, is just, it's something that I look forward to every year because it means so much to them and their family, and Special Olympics meant so much to Ross.
I'm here in the Riley Center, where the torch run wrapped up and the basketball tournament began.
From SBU-TV, I'm Patrick Vogel.
In total, the torch run had 61 runners, and through shirt sales alone, Special Olympics raised over $1,500, with corporate sponsors, Special Olympics, raising an additional $15,000.
Coming up in sports, Brady Wybrands is being selected to join the Netherlands for the World Championships. Also, women's lacrosse goes to DC for one final challenge. Stick around.
And coming up last night, the Buffalo Bills trade up in the first round of the NFL Draft. Meet the newest addition to Buffalo's roster after this.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
After you joined our family, it was like
I really do feel complete now.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
Look at that, it's so sad.
Did you know dragging chains can spark a wildfire?
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Good morning and welcome back to SBU-TV. Thanks for sticking with us this morning. It's now time to preview a packed weekend for Bonnie's Athletics on SBU-TV Sports with Anthony Goss.
Happy spring weekend and welcome back to SBU-TV Sports. I'm Anthony Goss. The men's lacrosse season may be ending on Saturday, but senior attack Brady Vibrance prepares to face international competition this summer. Our Louis Genovese has the story.
It's just like, here's the roster, and I saw my name on it, so I was really excited.
St. Bonaventure University men's lacrosse player Brady Vibrance will face greater competition after being selected to represent the Netherlands at the 2023 Lacrosse World Championships. The senior midfielder will join 19 professional players from the Dutch League and 3 players from the NCAA. Bonnie's head coach Randy Murd said Vibrance can bring perseverance and leadership to the team.
You have these goals and these dreams, like nobody gives them to you. Like you have to go get it. I think that they're going to count on him and his leadership. And, I think that he can bring back to the Netherlands program.
Vibrance qualifies for the team because of his dual citizenship for both the United States and the Netherlands, something his mother said plays a big part in his life.
He was born in the Netherlands and has dual citizenship, and his father is Dutch. He has spent time there every single summer for years and years. He has very strong connections to the Netherlands, so the opportunity for him to get to represent this country, his heritage, and his family in the World Championships is an incredible opportunity for him.
Vibrance looks to make the most out of this opportunity to represent his heritage and bring that big league experience back to Bonaventure.
I would say for me, it's not necessarily the play, it's just being a part of something so special and such a big event. Just getting to represent part of who I am, that's like the biggest reason why I get to do it. I know I have a lot of family that will fly out to see it, so it's just an awesome opportunity to play in front of people that have supported me for so long.
For SBU-TV, I'm Louis Genovese.
The Lacrosse World Championships will take place in San Diego, California from June 21st to July 1st. We showed you last week's historic win for Bonnie's women's lacrosse, but one regular season challenge still remains. The Bonnies travel to Washington, D.C. on Saturday, facing George Washington. Despite the excitement from last week, Coach Leanne Stauffer remains focused on the task at hand.
Because you made it to the A10 tournament doesn't mean that you can slack off. That's another game that is a must win. I think we need that momentum going into next Thursday. I think it'll help them mentally. I think it'll give them another confidence boost.
The Bonnies and the Colonials face off at 1 p.m. Saturday, and you can find the game on ESPN+. Men's lacrosse wraps up regular season play with their final matchup at Richmond. The Bonnies still seek their first conference win this season, playing for their first ever A10 victory at Richmond. Coach Mern's crew looks to end their 9-game losing streak with a much-needed win over an impressive Spiders squad. Graduate standout Sean Wesley and senior attack Jake Rosa lead the team in scoring with a combined 42 goals on the season. Face-off is scheduled for 3 p.m. tomorrow from Richmond.
The 25th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Buffalo Bills select Dalton Kincaid, tight end, Utah.
The Buffalo Bills added to their offensive arsenal in the first round of the 2023 NFL Draft, trading up to select Utah tight end Dalton Kincaid. Buffalo landed the rookie 25th overall, moving up from the 27th pick. The deal included the Bills and Jacksonville Jaguars swapping first-round picks and the Jaguars receiving Buffalo's fourth-round selection. The Utah product became the first tight end off the board. Kincaid recorded 16 touchdowns in his last 2 years playing at the Pac-12 school. Kincaid projects as a valuable asset for quarterback Josh Allen and his offense. Now a look at the weekend ahead for Bonnie's sports. Baseball opens a 3-game series this morning versus UMass. Softball hosts its own 3-game series beginning tomorrow against Rhode Island. Golf travels to Orlando for the Atlantic 10 Championship, and track competes at the Red Flash Invitational. More draft action and plenty of Bonnie sports to follow this weekend. We'll keep you updated on all of it on our Instagram and Facebook pages. That's all for me in sports, and for one last time, back to you, Rich and Johnny.
Thanks, Anthony. And up on your screens right now, SBU-TV social media handles. This is our last show of the semester, so make sure you follow us on Facebook and Instagram so you don't miss our return next semester.
And Johnny, like you said, this was our last show of the semester, but for you and I, it's our last show as members of SBU-TV.
You know, Rich, it's been one heck of a ride, and a special thank you from both of us to our mentors, Anna Bolshevitz and Danny Bush. So one last time, I'm Johnny Walker.
And I'm Rich Williams. So long, friends.